We can see things called quasars. Quasar, it's like laser tag, but they're
Hello, it's Live from 45 here. You're with me, James, Ricky.
Hello.
And Chris.
Hello.
And today we're talking about space. So, we've been to the moon, we've sent rovers to Mars, our Voyager 1's been past Jupiter and Saturn. Mm-hmm. So where do we go next?
Well, habitable planets. They've been in the news quite recently. What are they?
So a habitable planet is a planet that is a certain distance from a star in which liquid water can be on the surface of that planet. So it's in what we call the habitable zone.
Okay, so how many of those are there?
So from that, we know that there's about 22% of the stars in our galaxy have what we would define as habitable planets.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot, yeah.
Why isn't it a bigger deal then?
Isn't Mars and the Moon technically in a habitable zone?
Exactly. So that's the point. Within our solar system, Mars and the Moon are also within the habitable zone, or what's also called the Goldilocks zone. Because it was founded by Sir Arthur Goldilocks and his three bears. Yeah, just because a planet's a certain distance from a star doesn't mean it's going to have liquid water on its surface. Okay. So the Moon and also Mars don't have liquid water on their surface.
So could we get there?
Closest one to us is in Proxima Centauri, which is 12 light years away, which means it would take 12 years to get there if we could travel at the speed of light.
What?
Which is obviously not possible without current technology.
How long would it take travelling at the speed we can travel at the moment?
I don't know the exact answer, but I think it's on the order of thousands of years.
And this
is a long time.
Yeah.
And this is only the idea that might be a habitable planet just because it's it meets this criteria.
Yeah, a great point, James. Just because it meets the criteria doesn't mean that we get there and you would even be able to live there.
Because we can't even see it, we've just got these.
Exactly. All it is satellite data. So it's not an actual image of the planet and it doesn't look like Earth when you look at the image. It's just we have data from it.
Is there a way to tell if there's water on that planet?
So there's a way of checking if there's water in the atmosphere of the planet, but once a planet has an atmosphere, you can't see what's on the surface essentially. From the satellite data we have available from Kepler. So no, you wouldn't even know if there's water on the surface.
So it's almost too risky to do.
To an extent,
and impossible.
And even if there was a chance that we developed the ability to travel at light speed, by the time we get there, it could just be gone.
Well, you get into a really interesting, crazy zone when you start talking about traveling at the speed of light. As you said, say you're looking at a planet and it's 12 light years away from you. That means if you can travel at the speed of light, it takes 12 years to get there. But there's a crazy thing with the speed of light. As you increase your speed, your time slows down. So when you say Bolt is running, he actually experiences time nanoseconds, probably less than nanoseconds, slower than we do if we were watching him from our settees at home. So we're talking about on the order of light speed here. So say you could travel there in 12 years at the speed of light. By the time you get there, you might have only experienced a year, whereas the planet that you're going to has experienced 12 years.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if that's the exact calculation, but that's essentially how it works. So when we talk about going to solar systems that are thousands of light years away, if you can travel at 99.9% of the speed of light, you wouldn't experience thousands of years. You would experience maybe hundreds of years.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's very confusing. But
even while we were travelling on that spacecraft, it still wouldn't be possible because we'd have to find a way to slow down our aging, or is that?
Well, it wouldn't be to do with slow down your aging. Even if we're talking about something that's 12,000 light years away, say you travelling at the speed of light, it cancels down to 1,000 years. It's still, how do you survive in space for 1,000 years? Okay. Not just in terms of being able to procreate and carry on agriculturally, making food and all that stuff. Psychologically, how do you survive on a spacecraft for that amount of time?
That's true.
Unless you live on a Death Star.
Virtual reality.
Virtual
reality might help, yeah. But the ability to do it is not currently there, but the way of getting there is...
Like the theory.
The theory behind it is already known.
Do you think we ever will get to that point?
I like to think we would. Not within our lifetimes. Maybe in 1,000 years' time, we'd be able to do it. We'd be able to do it, yeah.
So is it like, as far as you're aware, is there a lot of like, obviously research, but are there people actually trying to find a way to do it?
No. Well, there's, with Donald Trump's and people like that around, a lot of important stuff gets slowed down.
Yeah.
And it's also hard to say to the general public why this is important. But imagine saying to someone, humans have discovered the ability to travel 99.9% of the speed of light.
Yeah, see, what funny thing is, I've heard that Donald Trump actually wants to be able to colonize other planets.
Yeah.
So, which is obviously a very unimportant thing, but... Yeah.
I don't think he knows what that means himself.
No, he doesn't know what another planet is. He's like, we're going to colonize other planets and we're going to get the Mexicans to build the rocket together. And I've seen Mexico's space program and it's not great. If we're lucky, these exoplanets that are in habitable zones might have bacteria on them, or even more lucky, they might have plant life on them. Okay. But it's unlikely for them to have intelligent life forms. And the reason I say that is because in America, there's an organization called SETI, which stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And they look for intelligent life forms with the assumption that intelligent life forms would be looking for us as well. But they haven't found anything yet.
How do they do that?
They look for things such as pulsations. So they detect radar waves, and if there's some kind of pulsation or a pattern to it, so it's not a randomized event, it's a radar wave that is showing some kind of pattern. Say they were looking out and they found one that was just going, then you'd be like, that's random. But if they got one going, then you would assume that's also random.
But a great song.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those beatboxing styles.
One of many. 22% of...
But that's essentially how they look for intelligent life forms. So we actually do the opposite thing. We also send radar waves out in pulsating patterns. So if anyone else is looking for us, they'll see that we're here. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it depends on what you view as intelligent. Got a little quote here. Isaac Asimov defined intelligence as the ability to develop and improve technology while integrating it within your own society.
So that's a purely technologically defined intelligence then.
Yeah.
But surely robots could be defined as intelligent then. Because if you programmed a robot to improve on itself and then give back to society over time, wouldn't that be an intelligent robot by that definition? Even though all you've done is told it to do something.
But you're the one that's told it to do something, so does that make it it's just following
orders? Doesn't it make you the intelligent one? Yeah, not the robot.
So
even though the robot is fully satisfying that definition of intelligence.
Yeah.
So you're saying you sent the robots off to like another planet, then people could think that there was intelligent life on there, but there's not, it's just the robot.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the robot's doing things that would seem intelligent, but it's not because it knows to do it, it's because it's being told to do it in a programming.
So it's the person who programmed the robot's motivation to help society that is intelligent, not the robot that was just following orders.
So you're saying it's more of an emotional thing?
Exactly. I think you need emotion to be deemed as intelligent.
So if SETI's out there looking for these signals, what if they can't send them back? Because we've only recently been able to send signals out there.
Yeah, in the last 50 years or so. Yeah.
So what if they're just not technologically advanced to do this?
Like a Snapchat, but you can not reply.
Well, yeah.
That's very simple, yeah.
Actually, that would be insane, yeah, because say it was World War II, they had the ability to receive signals, but they didn't have the ability to send them out. So
yes, they might just be getting them sat around going, what do I do?
But also, like, Amazonian tribesmen, I would define them as intelligent life forms, but they have no ability to reply or send out signals into space. So there could be billions of planets out there with people like that on it.
They've got no need to as well. Like, really, they don't care. They kind of live their lives as they want to. I think that's the thing. Sometimes we assume that people want to approach us, other life forms, because we're trying to
Why do we do it?
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people think that, there's these tribes that are that it's our duty to go there and show them how life should be led. But why is it our right to tell them, how they should live their
That
lives?
sounds so wrong now you say it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that's normally what happens when I say
Yeah.
stuff. I'll be with a girl, I'll be like, you want to come back to mine? She'll be like, that sounds so wrong now that you say it.
Usually you're saying it in a weird voice. It's
Yeah,
probably
like,
what it's
oh,
about.
come back to mine. I'll show you my plum sack. Well, in fairness, that's just a strange thing to say.
Maybe that's
And this
the
is why we're not sending you to space, Ricky.
Well, no,
That's the only reason.
maybe we're sending that signal out, but no one's replied. Well, see my plum sack.
Imagine picking that up though. You're like, SETI, they're looking around for intelligent life forms. And all they get through is some guy go, hey, look at my plum sack.
But how great would that be if someone was sending out like a prank phone call signal to these aliens and they were just picking it up?
We could do it though.
You could
Well,
be.
we could
Well,
just
this
do it.
podcast itself could be sent out into space very easily.
I could throw it really far, yeah.
Well, why don't we do
Get it high enough. it'll what's a velocity?
Yeah.
Space.
It's a word.
Distance.
So,
You're going to take a signal, throw it up, great.
moon. That's the other thing.
Yeah, so what would you say to the...
Well, you want to start off with, hey guys. Well, let's say assume they understand completely what you're going to say.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I'd be like, hello, we come in peace.
Oh, that's
Bitches.
such
Mate, you're not even going to advertise the podcast. First thing I would say, hello, it's live from 45.
I think it would be incredible if we sent this podcast out and there's in like thousands of years' time they find intelligent life form and they get on the planet and go,
Oh, no.
hello, it's live from 45.
Because they think that's how everyone introduces themselves.
Because they think it's an Earth greeting.
Or they receive it and they go, clearly no intelligence.
Why is this planet called Plum Sack?
On the subject of introducing people who are foreign to one another, so an extreme would be aliens introducing themselves to us.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Chris and I went off to my friend Gabs's house, and he's Italian, and he only recently has come over to England. So we were in the shop, and we're like, we should probably buy him something, to say thanks for having us over at your flat.
Yeah.
And we bought him.
Well, we were going to get him a bottle of wine. but-
Yeah, originally we were going to get a bottle of wine.
Bit obvious.
Standard.
Yeah, exactly. It's too obvious.
Yeah.
So we bought him some toilet roll instead.
Soft toilet roll.
Yeah. And we were going to tell him that that's an English tradition for when you go to someone's house.
You should, or I'll go over and just do it and be very confused because he won't know who I am as well.
Well,
So you're
yeah,
saying
that's true as well.
if we do go to another planet with intelligent life, we should bring toilet roll.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they might not have it, so it's a necessity.
That's true.
If I go travelling somewhere, I might tell the people that everyone says hello, it's live from 45 here in England, so that they start saying it, spreads the word of the
That'd
podcast.
be great for marketing.
And hey man, if we're
Go for
lucky, by the end of the year we might have like 4 or 5 views on each video.
And 2 from extraterrestrials.
Exactly. But let's not get our hopes up.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, I used to live in quite a small neighborhood, and I would only hang out with the kids who lived on my street essentially. So let's say hypothetically that there's thousands of planets out there that have intelligent life forms on them, but they all really live close to each other, so they're not looking for new friends, they just want to hang out with each other the whole time. Surely that's a possibility.
Surely
Yeah.
there'd still be some curiosity though as to what's beyond the planets. that
Maybe
are there.
their parents said don't talk to strangers.
Or they're really cliquey and they don't want to
That's the
mess
problem.
with Earth.
Maybe they're at war with each other.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh,
Who
bit
says they're
darker.
friendly?
Well, we were always at war on my street.
That's
Postcode wars happened all the time.
because you're a massive racist as well, though.
That's true. I only lived with other Asian people. But the problem is that
You hate
I hate Asian
Asian
people.
I guess it's interesting there. Like, what if they're threatening or like just trying to destroy each other? We seem to think that a lot about like aliens.
Well, people seem to think aliens want to come here and put their fingers up our bums.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's based on what we would want to do, obviously.
The first thing I'd do if I went to an alien planet, finger or bum.
Is that an anus? I'm going to put my finger up there.
But to be fair, came up with the anal probing thing as well. It's such a weird.
And why is it always rednecks who are getting alien probed?
Maybe they just want it. That's true.
Closet homophobes.
But in fairness, it seems to be related to all
It could be
kinds.
female aliens, Chris. You don't know.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
Jesus.
Something wrong
Sorry.
with
So
having a finger up the ass doesn't mean you're gay. Fuck.
Yeah. I did
Well.
say it.
But it seems to be anything related with traveling in the air is bumhole related. Like whenever I get on a plane, someone probes my anus. But
I think you should get on different planes. That's very weird.
Yeah.
oh, is that not like what happens to everyone?
No, I don't think so. No, it's not.
Because a
not
few
at all.
times they seemed confused when I insisted that they did it.
When you bought your own lube and glove.
It doesn't feel like a holiday until someone sticks their finger up my bum.
That's a Life from 45 holiday motto. Can we get that on a billboard? It's not a holiday until someone puts a finger up my bum.
New t-shirts coming out. Sorry, to get us back on track.
Yeah.
Let's say there are all these planets out there, and let's say hypothetically they are receiving our signal.
Yeah.
But what if they're just too busy to reply? What if they are all at war with one another,
What if
so they haven't got time to reply?
What if they're washing their hair?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's often why people don't reply to my messages. But yeah, what if they're in a closed group of planets? They've already got their own thing going on. Actually, that said, SETI have a rule that if they receive anything from an alien life form, they're not supposed to reply to it.
Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Partially, the theory is that, say you're a planet that's 1,000 light years away. It took 1,000 light years for your message. Sorry, it took 1,000 years for your message to get here. So it's then going to take 1,000 years for our message to get back to you, and then another 1,000 years for your message to get back to us. So it's deemed as almost pointless. But also, it's because of this thing that we're worried about. Aliens want to kill us. So
we're looking for life, but if they were looking for us, we're like, no.
yeah, we're like,
But,
fuck you guys.
So what if they have the same rule?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So then they receive, but they don't reply as
Bridge
well.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's like
Always
the worst kind of
receiving.
dating.
Yeah. They love to receive, but they don't want to get back out, do they? Blowjob stuff.
But being serious here, what do you think intelligent life would look like?
So if we went to another planet and there was intelligent life forms there, what would they look like?
They had the ability to communicate within themselves. They developed their technologies, and what would they look like?
Well, if physics applies the same everywhere and chemistry is the same everywhere, which we have no reason to think it wouldn't be, they'd probably look a lot like us. You couldn't be a big monster because then you wouldn't need to be intelligent to exist. You'd just eat everything,
Yeah.
And you couldn't be like a blob because you couldn't manipulate things to make objects. So you couldn't make a phone, for instance, because you couldn't move material around. So you'd probably need 2 arms, 2 legs, hands. You wouldn't be too big, you wouldn't be too small. And you need a big brain. But yeah, it's weird to think that they'd probably just look a lot like us. Hence probably why they want to prey on our anuses.
Oh my god, you guys do it too.
We thought we were the only ones. We've been talking about us going to see aliens, but what if aliens came to us? Because people believe that aliens came to Earth thousands of years ago and actually built the pyramids.
They built
I don't know if you...
No.
Because people seem to think that, I think it kind of originates from a lot further back, but people think that the pyramids were constructed in such an intelligent way that people at that time couldn't have made them, that they could only have been made by aliens.
If that's true, I'm a bit disappointed in them, and I'm glad they left because that's the best they can come up with.
What incredible geometric shapes.
I don't want to sound bad, but they come over to our planet, they take our jobs. There were a lot of Jewish slaves who were put out by those aliens coming there and doing that.
At least they're left.
It's true. That's true.
But yeah, so we did that, and then also obviously the Roswell conspiracies, UFOs.
Sorry, what's the Roswell? Is that Area 51?
Yeah, Area 51. So that a spaceship landed in 1930s, 40s.
It crashed, didn't it? Yeah,
Crash landed, and the FBI took parts of that spacecraft and kept it in Area 51. And ever since, have been using. There's different stories, but I've been using parts of it to create technological advancements, and also just using it to monitor life.
God, if that's
planets.
Wasn't that also how the Terminator was created?
It was, yeah.
And filmed.
We all know how that ended.
Do you know Hook, Captain Hook?
Yeah.
Is Hook was made from part of that space.
People think that Terminator was filmed by James Cameron, but no, it was an alien. He filmed it.
Well, I thought it was just true. There was a documentary. Yeah. But isn't there also a theory that the alien was in Area 51 and that they dissected it and shit like that?
Well, yes, there's theories that they dissected the alien. There's also theories that they captured it and they've still got it there. Or that one landed, but there's been lots of other ones that have landed. So they've just kind of been building up a thing. Because obviously Area 51's so secretive. Yeah. But if you've got this secret base, why not make people think that you've got aliens there?
Yeah. Well, do you know what they actually did there? It was actually a place where they made the stealth fighters and the U-2 stealth bomber and stuff like that.
That's just what they want you to think, Ricky.
True. But let's say aliens have been here and they've managed to leave no evidence of their existence, apart from the pyramids, obviously. Yeah. I'm completely sold on it that they made the pyramids, because what else would you do?
Would you build it with slaves?
You would come on your spacecraft and then make something that looks very old.
Out of brick as well. Like
but
sands.
There's also the thing in England, what's it called?
Stonehenge,
that's it. But that actually is related to space. It was an astronomical observatory. So they used it to look at the star patterns,
Who used it? Aliens.
The peeps who were around. Well, no, it later got taken by druids as an area to do druidic rituals,
Yeah, because with Stonehenge they said that the way the stones have been placed and how big they are, they couldn't have been man. Yeah. They couldn't have been put there by
Couldn't have been.
No, that's the theory.
Well, the theory is based on bollocks, because all you could do is just get horses and carriages to carry them. So.
But people like to have the...
Yeah. It's cooler to think aliens did it.
So some aliens made the pyramids and some just put a few stones in the field.
It was different ones,
okay.
Right. Stonehenge is like an antenna to these aliens, apparently. Like one day it's going to be used to contact the aliens.
So you know how like we can make really small microchips and use those as antennae? They have to make these massive monolithic things to do that. So.
They're intelligent though, and they can do travel at the speed of light.
Even though they have better technology than us, they still just like to work with their hands a lot. You know, when they get here.
I like
it's all about the craft.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea that the aliens did come to Earth. They did it just to fuck with us. Like, they're gonna be thinking about this for years.
The aliens have become so intelligent. They just like to do other things with their time now. They're just like, I just do woodwork now. Or I like to build buildings. Yeah, that's all.
On planets with unintelligent
life on it. Yeah, exactly.
It's their idea of Lego blocks. This is what they do. So it was a child alien that made the pyramids.
That's even great. Yeah. It was a little alien that was a kid, and they went, "Oh, you just go off to that Earth planet and do whatever you want when you get there." I've got a thing for you guys. Okay. Have you seen the film Monsters, Inc.?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they go through those doors and they scare the children.
Yep.
That is essentially what going through the fourth dimension would be. It's going through a teleporter to somewhere else.
Okay.
So what if on Earth there's one of these doors, an alien came, it put the door there, and it can come out and go back through as it wishes? So it'd be so difficult to find it if it left it in some cave in the middle of nowhere, and it could visit Earth whenever it wants to. And it can leave whenever it wants to, and there'll be no evidence of it coming or going.
Can we go through it?
Well, if we found it.
Yeah.
Should we get lucky?
Should we go now?
Yeah.
Right, thanks for listening, guys.
I guess as well, from science fiction anyway, we assume that if somebody did have the intelligence to make all this technology, that they could just create a way to make themselves look like us if they didn't.
Well, that would be the easiest part. Yeah. We were watching Silence of the Lambs last night, and he just cuts that guy's face off.
Oh yeah, very simple.
That's all they would have to do. And now my face falls off and there's an alien underneath. I know, I'm busted.
That would explain so much.
Well, it would explain why I act the way I do and why I'm always trying to put my finger up your bum.
There would be all the aliens are like, no one else does that.
Do you imagine? That's even better. There's one alien who came to Earth and he did it, and all the rest of them are like, well, you're such a weird guy. Why would you do that? But he's like, nah, now they think all of us do that.
He was a forward-thinking alien.
Exactly, yeah. So what we can conclude from our last conversation is that aliens don't like to put their fingers up your butt. Just one weird one did. And even though they're really intelligent and have a better technology than we do, they still like to build old buildings.
And there's an alien walking around in a skin suit made out of people. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Look out for him.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
So pyramids and Stonehenge aside, there's no evidence to actually show aliens ever visiting here. And the universe has been around for 13.7 billion years, which is a long time for life to have formed.
Yeah,
And the Earth is only 4.5 billion years.
exactly. And we formed in that time.
So we've given them enough time.
To visit here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a thing called the Fermi paradox. And it's exactly what you said. If the universe has been around for 13.7 billion years and the planet Earth has only been around for 4.5 billion years and we've developed, how come there's not other intelligent life forms that has developed and had time also to travel around in that time? Because if you think about it, in a billion years' time, our technology, if we still exist, will be so advanced that we should have been able to populate many other solar systems than ours. And the theory goes also that you could develop a robot, you send that into space, it lands on another planet, and it builds another robot, and it sends that off into space, and it also flies off in a different direction. So every time one of those lands on another planet, it's the power of 2. It keeps on increasing. And within a billion years' time, you should have explored the whole universe.
Wow.
Exactly. But that's the point. How come this hasn't happened if there's been time for it to happen? And it therefore concludes that aliens must not exist.
I don't agree with that. What if they died before they managed to get to that point?
What, as in, what do you mean? An asteroid hit their planet or something like that?
Natural disaster, wiping themselves out.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's so many other reasons why they might not have visited our planet.
Wasn't that the catastrophe theory that they wiped themselves out for like nuclear war?
Oh, what is that?
Well, that they wipe themselves out through war or nuclear attack and just haven't managed to get to the point where they can reach us.
Okay. So yeah. So before they managed to get to the point of developing this technology, they've actually just killed themselves off.
Which, to be fair, we're probably not that far away from.
Well, yeah, it's more plausible than us visiting other planets at the moment.
How long do you think we have left?
4 weeks. So only expect another 4 podcasts from us, guys. Yeah. But remember to like all of them as well. I think we hinted on it earlier as well, but we assume that aliens want to go and find other planets. What if they're just like the tribes, as we were saying earlier?
Yeah.
What if they're happy just living the way they do? They don't need to leave their planet. They're still intelligent life forms. They just don't want to do it, you know?
Just chilling.
Exactly, just chilling and killing on their own planet.
Well, what if they're not? What if they're not killing? What if they're just a peaceful, happy civilization that don't need to?
What if they're more emotionally intelligent than us to such an extent that they don't see killing each other as a clever thing to do?
Or they're not. Maybe, I guess emotionally intelligent, not intelligent enough that they understand greed or hatred or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, so I guess they could be less emotionally intelligent, so they're more like robots.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of these people.
Let's kill them.
They don't know fear, we'll show them. Have you guys heard about the multiverse theory?
I have, yes.
I have also heard it. We all know something for once.
So for the listeners at home, did someone want to explain what the multiverse theory is?
It's the theory that there are an infinite amount of universes out there.
Yeah, incredibly simple. So yeah, just the idea of there's loads of different universes. But I guess it kind of partly comes from Schrodinger's cat, the theory that if you place a cat inside a box with poison,
it will die.
Yeah, basically. That it will die. Like, it's to do with like half-life and stuff, but simply you put a cat in a box with poison, and once you close the lid, the cat is now both dead and alive in this situation.
As a probability concept.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an observational thing. So looking
so
from the outside, because you can't determine the probability of the cat being alive and dead. You
have to assume both.
Yeah,
things
what's
happen.
called a quantum superposition,
Exactly.
which is in its every possible state it can be in, both dead and alive at the same time, which is just ridiculous. Because
well, no, I do that. Whenever
up.
you guys leave the room, I'm like, he's dead and alive, he's dead and alive. I live a stressful life.
Yeah.
Every time I blink, I do it as well.
But yeah, so that's just like from that point, you could say that both things happening at once, which is kind of where you could say the multiverse
So because we can't observe it, we just assume every possible
Yeah,
thing
you
is happening.
You kind of have to
You
say
have
that.
to, yeah. In order to be scientifically correct, you have to.
Seems a bit like a cop-out answer, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But that's what's fun about it. Because
Exactly.
we could have a universe now where we're 3 bearded ladies. Possibly one.
I would like
You
that.
would like that.
Yeah.
Which one of us 3 bearded ladies would you guys get with?
Myself.
I don't think I'd fancy myself. I'm not into Asian
I
women.
disagree.
Talking about Multiverse though, what's great is how film and TV have kind of taken on the idea of the Multiverse, because obviously it's such like a great story concept.
It's so easy to use for so many things. Exactly.
I think most shows have used it, but Rick and Morty use it really well, and the idea of having all these kind of possibilities that are endless.
But they interact with one another. Which
Yeah, exactly.
You see, my favourite example of a TV using the multiverse theory is Hollyoaks.
I think Coronation Street did it first, though, when Peter Barlow from the other universe came.
I think Hollyoaks did it where it was both, but in all universes it was still a shit show. That was the problem.
Alright, we've got more of an EastEnders fan here. But isn't it weird that in some universe somewhere, this podcast would be worth listening to?
No, I don't think that universe exists.
But you asked a good question about the multiverse theory, in that it deems essentially that everything that is possible is happening. So we could go to another universe and things could be completely different, like water could be ice at room temperature, etc., etc., etc. But what would you want to change about that universe if you could go to one?
So
what would the difference
if I could
be?
choose which one I go to, I'd go for the generic,
3-titted lady universe.
Yeah, 3-titted.
But Chris is the 3
The generic one.
Yeah.
The cliche 3-titted lady universe.
Obviously, I'd go to the one where I'm a bearded woman.
Yeah.
And
No, you wouldn't change. You would be you.
oh right, okay.
Oh no, you mean you would go to meet the bearded version of yourself who was a
and
lady.
get with them.
This is getting dark.
I'd go to a universe where everything's made out of chocolate.
Really, that would be very impractical.
Yeah, well, just to visit,
What would you do on holiday?
eat chocolate.
But there would be no buildings or anything like that.
Yeah, you'd just be sinking
It'd just
into
be everything would
like
just
gooey
be an ocean of chocolate on there.
Sounds great. to
Everyone would be dead.
me. I'm having a great time.
Dead or diabetic.
You know, if you go to another universe
Yeah.
and you meet yourself, is that you? Or I don't understand anymore. Is that how it works? Or are you so far apart it's no longer you anymore?
It's just another guy that looks like it.
Yeah, is it just someone who's exactly identical to you, but they're not you?
Well, we have this all the time.
Not me
All
and James.
three.
But I guess that comes down to if you cloned yourself and you were completely the same person, but you're not the same person.
You'd be the same person, just the experiences you had would be different. Because,
So are you a different person?
well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Nature or
You
nurture?
would start off as the same, but it's the experiences
Because
like you said,
there's
that change you.
an infinite amount of possibilities. So the other yous have done everything. So there could be a you that chopped off the hand for no reason.
Oh my
That
God.
was this you.
Yeah. Got bored.
Yeah.
Or there's an us with no beard.
Oh, don't ever talk about that. That doesn't exist. That is nothing.
Yeah, I don't like this multiverse thing.
Why?
It's just a bit everything. It's like your mind goes crazy thinking of the possibilities, and then what happens?
My mind's already gone crazy.
Yeah, there's a universe of Ricky sane. That's the weirdest one.
That one doesn't exist either. There is a limitation to the multiverse theory.
Is there?
Yeah.
What's that limitation?
And that is that Ricky can never be normal in any of them.
He's laughing, but he's crying. You can't tell.
Yeah.
Would it ever be possible to prove this or get there?
I don't know. I mean, the closest thing I've heard to it being a reality is a statistics-based thing. So we originally thought that the Earth was the only planet in our solar system. We then see other planets in the solar system. We then thought our solar system was the only one that existed. And then we realized there's loads of other solar systems. And then we thought our galaxy was the only one. But then there's trillions of galaxies in the observable universe. Maybe we just don't have the technology yet to see the other universes.
Isn't the universe expanding so that theoretically our universe could meet these other universes?
Well, what you mean it's expanding into something? What do you mean by that?
The universe is still expanding from leftover energy from the Big Bang.
Okay.
And the way we know it's expanding is because of something called redshift and blue shift. And all that means is, you know, when we're looking at planets that are far away from us, what we're looking at is the light that they send to us. So we look at that light, and if it's being stretched, it means it's getting further away, and it stretches into a red side of the bandwidth, essentially. And if it's getting closer to us, it gets pushed together and becomes blue. So it's that simple, and that's how we can tell if something's going further away from us or closer to us. And we find generally almost everything seems to be red. Everything seems to be pulling away from one another. So the universe must be expanding.
Yeah.
Now, the question of what is the universe expanding into in itself is a bit of a non-question, because the universe itself is expanding. So the universe is everything. But furthermore, all we can see is what we call the observable universe. So the universe originally, when the Big Bang happened, expanded quicker than the speed of light. So all we can see around us is this distance of 13.7 billion light years. After that, we don't know what the universe looks like. But say if I travelled a billion light years away from here, my observable universe would change again.
Okay.
So we would be able to see 13.7 billion light years around that area. So we don't know what the universe looks like or how big the whole universe is. We can only look at the observable universe, and we see that that is expanding.
Okay.
So if everything's going further away and we know it is expanding, is there a chance it would ever come back in on itself?
So there's a theory that once the energy that was left over from the Big Bang runs out and the universe is expanded as far as it can, it will then start to contract back on itself.
No way.
And what's not to say that this hasn't happened billions of times, that the universe has expanded, contracted, gone back to the middle point again, and then exploded again, and the Big Bang happens again. What's to say that hasn't happened
My mind is blown.
over and over again? Yeah. Don't worry, I know your mind's blown now, but it'll eventually contract again.
So just get something straight. If I'm seeing something that's 1,000 light years away, then I'm seeing it as if it's 1,000 years ago. It's just taking 1,000 years for that light to get here.
Exactly, yeah.
Whoa, so does that mean if we can see 13.7 billion light years away, we're seeing 13.7 billion light years into the past?
Well, years into the past, yeah. So it's taken
God.
13.7 billion years for that light to get here. Exactly.
Crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. So we can essentially see into the time that the Big Bang happened. But it's not an observable thing. We can see it from what we call the cosmic background radiation, which is radiation left over from the Big Bang. So we can see what it looked like when that happened.
What kind of things can we see?
So we can see things in ancient galaxies that don't exist anymore, which is interesting. We can see things called quasars. Quasar, it's like laser tag, but they're normally just next to Hollywood Bowls or something like that.
It's the cheap version. It's when, when your family don't love you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you always go Pizza Hut afterwards when it's your birthday. No, a quasar is something we don't see in galaxies any younger than about 13 billion years old. So they're very ancient things. And they're normally associated with the center of galaxies where there's a supermassive black hole. These ancient giant black holes that suck in so much light and create so much energy that they send out these massive beams of radiation towards us, and we can see those. But we only see them, as I said, in these ancient galaxies. So we assume that they're a very early event within the history of the universe.
So they're taking light in and sending it out.
So so the energy that is created by pulling in all this material and light into them is so high that it releases a load of energy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there could be something in black hole.
Well, the theory originally went that if something gets pulled into a black hole, it adds to the mass of the black hole. And I recently read a paper by Stephen Hawking, and I don't fully understand his papers because they're written in bio... Oh, God, I can't make that joke. As I was saying,
They're written in Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Not binary. Anyway. So I recently read a paper by him, and I don't fully understand them, but they essentially said that you can see energy being released from black holes now. So that poses the question of, if energy is coming out of a black hole, what's it coming from?
That doesn't make sense to me, because if black hole has a mass that's so great it pulls everything in, how can anything escape?
Exactly. So people try to relate it to this multiverse. Is that a way of teleporting between one universe to another? Or even, could it just be a way of teleporting within a universe?
Maybe these are people that, in a different multiverse, thought, black holes are wormholes, let's go through.
Let's put our finger in that black hole.
And they just come out as a bit of light.
Yeah, that's what happens. They're like, this is a good idea, let's go through this. And then they just die.
So now it's time for the FAQs. Our question is from Jean Jelska from the Xandar system. And he says, if you're abducted by an alien for 24 hours and you're awake for the whole time, you knew exactly what was happening, you woke up back in your bed, what would you do?
What, my body's just fine?
Yeah, everything's exactly the same. You just remember all the things they did to you.
Oh my god. Well, apart from the nightmares I'd have, I think I'd write a song about it.
How would that song go? I mean, it depends what they did to you. You're making it sound like they touch you. I mean, they wouldn't touch you any more than Ricky does.
Right, that's fine.
Anything, it would be a more normal night.
Yeah. Like 2 fingers at the most.
What's the word? Deja vu? That would be the name of the song.
What's the word he's coming up with? Is deja vu?
Deja vu. Is that the word?
I think that's the word.
What about you, Ricky? What would you say?
To be honest with you, when this happened to me, I wasn't that fazed by it. So, the problem is it's happened so many times that I get, what's the word? Deja vu? Sorry, I think I went slightly off topic there.
I'm feeling like I'm getting deja vu.
Oh, God. What would you do, James?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably just go back to life as normal. Furiously masturbated.
I think...
What else would you do?
Everything goes back to masturbating with you.
That's why I said I'd go back to normal. No, I'd probably just try and tell people, but then maybe I'd be like all those other crazy rednecks.
So you'd move to America.
I'd get myself a trailer, move to America, and I'd live outside Area 51.
Yeah. That's really weird about this. It's giving me...
a certain French word. I can't remember.
But not to go off topic from the question we're asked. We hate doing that, obviously. But what would you do if you were... So you are abducted by aliens. You're on the spacecraft.
Yeah.
And you wake up while you're on the spacecraft and you're left in the room alone by yourself.
Okay.
And what would you do?
So, other than furiously masturbating.
Am I just allowed to move around?
Yeah, so they thought they sedated you, but they haven't sedated you enough and you've woken up.
Yeah.
James masturbated all of it out of himself, so he's woken up.
They gave you mouse tranquilizers instead of people tranquilizers.
I would escape, hide, somehow find a weapon, take over their race, take the spaceship, fly it back to Earth.
See,
intense.
Yours is quite similar to mine. Mine was I would learn the language and mate with their people.
Take me to a leader so I can fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I'd probably just let the Bailey probe me. Pretend I was asleep.
That would probably be the easiest thing to do.
So I don't think we've...
I don't think you quite got in there. You weren't thorough enough.
Do it one more time. Just in case.
And then when they did it the second time, you'd be like, this is giving me deja vu. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Jean. So unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. But I know.
Boo. One more song.
One more question. But thank you for listening. And just before we go, a quick word from our sponsor.
Yeah, so thanks to our sponsors, Wikipedia, for once again sponsoring the episode. And they have this great fact for us today. According to the multiverse theory, which states there are an infinite amount of universes with an infinite amount of possibilities, there is only one true Wikipedia.
Wow, how blessed are we?
All right, thanks for listening. Remember to hit us up on YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter. Like, share, subscribe.
All that good stuff.
All that good stuff. All right. And that's goodbye from me, James.
Me, Ricky.
And me, Chris.
Adios.